G'day, Schweiss auf Kopfe. We finally broke the curse. A major kill video was finally monetized after containing zero offensive content. I still had to get it appealed though, which is some bullshniz, but I'll take what I can get. The response from you guys was amazing. Patreon skyrocketed and the message was loud and clear. Major kill without over the top, tasteless, unnecessary swearing is not a major kill that you guys want. I'm back, cunts. I did actually hear that YouTube's AI struggles to understand the Aussie accent, and the word cunt actually gets interpreted as can't. Which is understandable. So from now on, I'll just say cunt a lot and see how we go. The response to my face reveal was pretty hilarious, ranging from people turning gay through me being a Chad to me also being gay. Yes, I have a big mouth and ears, but I call that a win. I have great blowjob lips, and everyone loves elephants. Combine those two and you have a great recipe for bestiality. Who better to launch back into it with other than Warhammer Fantasy's biggest edgelord, Malus Darkblade. His name is bloody Malus Darkblade. The only thing edgier would be if someone was called like Adolf Jewslayer or George Kitty Fiddler. On paper, Malus is a total badass, a dark elf warrior who is in a constant struggle against a powerful demon for ownership of his soul. While there are times where he shines through as a badass, he's actually quite an irredeemable, incompetent asshole who gets his soul murder fucked multiple times. Honestly, this dude's soul has been violated more than an ISIS child bride. He gets the shit kicked out of him time and time again, but our edgy boy doesn't give up, and that's why we love him. Today we'll cover who Malus is and his lore to date. We'll also cover what happens to Malus during the end times. Spoilers, our boy gets done dirty, but this is unsurprising considering basically everyone and their cat got done dirty during the end times. In other news, since the hack, Major Kill has been very good at avoiding scams, so expect me to stay in control of my channel for the foreseeable future. Let's get into it. Malus was a bastard child born to a Dark Elf commander, hence his last name Darkblade. See, when we hear Darkblade we think, ooh, edgy, ooh, watch out, ooh, bet he's gonna go shoot up a few schools later. However, in reality it basically just means shit sword, as dark was their word for low quality. Ironically, they were known as the Dark Elves, but bringing that up with them would likely result with you getting spit roasted by a Hydra. Malus was your standard Druchii, a massive asshole who constantly sought ways to gain power and ruin literally everyone's day. Being one of many children, Malus quickly developed daddy issues as he was often neglected. His mum wasn't very present either as she was a witch elf and probably not known for her bedtime stories. She was great at murdering people though, so that's pretty neat. In order to try and gain the respect of his father and also to escape a failed business venture of his, Malus went into the Chaos Wastes in search of powerful treasures. After many near-death experiences, such as escaping Cainite Templars, getting captured by Shades, making friends with then betraying a treacherous beastman, escaping an undead elven prince, and finally getting to the Gates of Infinity. That's such a lame name. Malus wasn't able to do this because he was a legendary warrior or a powerful sorcerer, no, he was just smooth as butter, and really good at predicting betrayals, so he got really good at betraying future traitors. Malus was a despicable arsehole, but when everyone he fights against are just as big as an arsehole as him, or even worse, then it's hard to hate the dude, or to judge his actions. Anywho, this magical awesome treasure Malus had been searching for turned out to be a good old fashioned soul raping demon, called Zarkan, and it possessed his soul. Now Zarkan was a massive arsehole, and told Malus that he had 1 year to gather 5 magical overpowered artifacts that could free him. If Malus was to fail this task, he would receive a metaphorical turbo anal throttle from Zarkan, and maybe also a literal one. I mean, Zarkan was a demon of Slaanesh after all. The first artifact was a medallion that protected its user from most magical spells and effects. Malus retrieved it through butchering a bunch of beastmen. The fact that Malus now had a demon inside him meant that he was suddenly a god tier warrior, so that was nice. Despite having such a nifty anti-magical artifact, Malus is a dumbass and he never really wore it when faced with magical adversity. At this point, Malus was a little homesick and he came back home to Haggrafe, but his dad was a massive asshole and arrested Malus upon arrival. The reason being he was sick of Malus running around embarrassing the family name through all the random bullshit he'd been doing. He was tortured to death, but lived because Zarkan thought it was funny. He had his flesh torn from his bones but still survived, so his mother and half-sister freed him and healed him. But it turns out they were just massive assholes and wanted to use the demon within Malus for their own Slaneshi cult bullshit, and they never gave a fuck about old mate Malus. I kinda feel bad for the dude at this point, but he is a dark elf, so he has it coming. Honestly guys, if there's one thing you should take away from this video, it's that dark elves are all assholes. No exceptions. At least the Dark Elder from 40k can justify their arsehole ways because it prevents them from getting soul raped, but in fantasy they just do it because they like it. To regain his honour and to not have the entirety of his family try to murder him 24/7, Malus helps a Cainite temple in destroying his mother's Slaneshi cult. Malus needed to get a move on, so he blackmailed the local shipmaster, as well as promising to exterminate a bunch of disgusting Nurgle pirates whose flesh had all fallen off. The pirates of Nurgle basically stapled the flesh of their prisoners to themselves, so it was very disgusting. Malus thought, what better way to bring my family together than go genocide some mutated pirates? So he grabbed a couple of his brothers and sisters along for the ride. Turns out he really didn't need to bring them together much because they were already fucking each other here and there, but you know, that's okay. Turns out incest is not the basis for a healthy sibling relationship, as Malus had to avoid getting murdered by his family the entire holiday. Eventually they killed the Nurgle pirates, however Malus was forced to kill his brother in a duel. Not that Malus really cared, but yes, it was not a very functional family home environment. The island where the Nurgle pirates was also where the second artifact was, a brass idol which could teleport Malus wherever and whenever he wanted. Except it really sucked to use and was quite inaccurate, so Malus wasn't really a fan of it. Malus teleported out of the shitty island and went to Clar Carond to find the third artifact, a black dagger which could one-shot anything with a soul, even with the smallest scratch, known as, ready for it, the Reaper of Souls. God fucking damn it, these fucking dark elf names and their edgy bullshit. Malus discovered that the dagger was in a tomb within Clar Carond and found it surprisingly easy to infiltrate. Too easy in fact, as another party of dark elves were already in there. Malus was able to get past them and grab the dagger, however this woke up the undead elven warlord who guarded it, and he proceeded to massacre everyone with the dagger, including Malus. However, despite being stabbed by the blade, Malus did not own his soul, hence it did not kill him, it only knocked him out. When he awoke, the dagger had been taken by the other dark elves. Malus was surprised and a little bit annoyed to discover that the other dark elf party had been led by his father and various family members, as they knew he would be looking for the dagger and wanted to basically just fuck with him. Honestly, worst family I've ever seen. Malus killed his dad and took back the dagger, which was a bit of a no-no even in Druchi society. With Haggrafe now wanting to kill him, Malus escaped to Nagor, which was a black ark. Malus used his charisma and likely his talent for eating bitches out to win favour with the Lord of the Ark. Malus led an invasion of Haggrafe and wounded the shipmaster there. Despite this, the invasion failed really badly, and he became an enemy of Nagor for failing so badly. Simultaneously, the Witch King Malekith also declared war on Malus, as Malus had gone too far by killing his father, a dark elf of significant influence, as well as invading his home, which was a vassal of Malekith. Malus had no friends, and he went into hiding in the Wildy. The only family he had at this point that wasn't trying to bring about his complete and utter destruction was his mother, who advised him to go to Harganeth to retrieve the next artifact, the Warp Sword of Cain. He arrived as a massive civil war between two Cainite factions broke out because, you guessed it, some of his family rocked up to the city and began fucking shit up. Honestly, being an orphan sounds like the healthiest way to grow up as a dark elf, god damn. Malus infiltrates the Temple of Cain and battles his powered up Chosen of Cain brother, only to discover the warp sword within the temple was fake, so Malus has to portal to the Chaos Wastes and kill a dragon ogre to get it. The sword was extremely powerful, second only to the actual Sword of Cain. It had its own sentience, and despite being called the Warp Sword of Cain, it actually seemed to be more like a blade of the Old Ones or some kind of obscure old chaos weapon. Malus only really wanted to get to the Warp Sword so he could try and save his soul. He wasn't super keen on the prophecy that came along with it, which basically said that the Chosen of Cain, who would usher in an era of blood and destruction, would wield the sword. Malus wasn't too keen on his new status as a Cainite badass to become common knowledge, however, as Malekith declared himself as the Chosen of Cain, and he would murder the shit out of Malus if he found out that, what was going on. Malus' sister killed his brother and declared that she wanted to fuck the shit out of Malus because she was a fan of the Chosen of Cain. Family is dysfunctional. Malus began searching for the final artifact, an amulet that made you unkillable through conventional means. Nice. Neither him or Zarkan knew where it was going to be, so using a ring given to him by his mother, he called in a favour and discovered that the path to the amulet began in Naggarond. Malus went to Naggarond and was instantly captured and dragged to Malekith, who revealed that Malus' sister had turned to chaos and was leading an army of over 120,000 warriors who were carving their way through the north and would soon arrive in Naggarond. They wanted to take Malus and use the demon within him for their own gains. They were like, "Yo Malekith, if you give us Malus, we will leave." And Malekith was like, "That is the biggest bullshit I've ever heard. I will crush you like the homoerotic faggots you are." Hence Malus and Malekith teamed up to take on this new enemy. Malus was deployed to Grond and led a hit and run attack on his sister to try slow down her army. He encountered a mighty Chaos Champion wearing the Amulet of Bullshit Overpoweredness, and even his legendary Warp Sword couldn't even leave a scratch. During the final battle of Grond, Malus forced his sister to become arrogant and draw on more power than the Chaos Gods were willing to give her, causing her to explode. Moments later, the unkillable Chaos Champion attacked Malus. Here's the kicker. The Chaos Champion used to serve Malus and was in love with him. It was a chick, by the way. But when Malus was originally possessed by Zarkan, he murdered her. As she lay dying, she pledged herself to Chaos and was brought back as a revenant. The amulet made her immune to weapons, so Malus beat her to death with his bare hands, expressing regret that she had met this fate. Good guy Malus, you go dude. With the Chaos army crushed, Malekith was now Malus's bro, and having collected all 5 artifacts, Malus was finally ready to separate Zarkan from himself. The ritual was a success, but Zarkan turned out to be a sneaky little Jew and tried to steal Malus's soul anyway. Malus fought Zarkan and eventually banished him using the Reaper of Souls. However, Zarkan was able to keep Malus's soul and all the artifacts were destroyed except for the Warp Sword of Cain. Not a good result at all. Malus wandered for years soulless, which sucked for him. Eventually some dude approached him and was like, "Yo Malus, I have a map to Zarkan and your soul, however I've tattooed it on my back, so you need me alive if you want to find it." To which Malus replied, "No I don't." Malus promptly killed the man and skinned him, keeping the flesh which had the map on it. Malus entered the realms of chaos and massacred his way to Zarkan, reclaiming his soul. However, he was trapped in by a chaos entity. Malus being Malus pulled a fast one on the entity and escaped the realms of chaos. But this is Malus we're talking about, so there's no such thing as a happy ending. The entity was mad at being tricked, so he rebound Zarkan to Malus, hence bringing the journey full circle. When Malus falls asleep, Zarkan takes over him, hence Malus has been butt-chugging potions to keep him permanently awake. You know what that meter in the campaign map is? The number indicates how tired Malus is, not how possessed he is. The potions Malekith gives you aren't anti-possession potions, it's just a fuckload of overpriced caffeine. Malus returned to Hagreif and became its lord and trusted general of Malekith, which is basically where he starts off in Total War Warhammer 2. Along the way he recruited Spite, a small but highly intelligent cold one. Needless to say, Malus hasn't really developed his relationship with his family anymore, but at least the really cunty ones are dead. Despite a really awesome book series and an overall awesome character, Malus gets treated like shit in the end times. Initially he helps Malekith push back the Khornite invasions from the north, before throwing his lot in with Tyrion when Tyrion becomes the avatar of Cain. Eventually the chaotic energies flooding the world empower Zarkan too much and he rips free of Malus, destroying his body and soul and also killing Spite. Tyrion then promptly kills Zarkan. Tyrion would briefly dual wield both the Sword of Cain and the Warp Sword of Cain, which was seriously badass. However, it wasn't badass enough to compensate with how dog-eared our boy Malus got. There is a very small to no chance we will ever see Malus again return in Age of Sigmar, unless his popularity skyrockets, but for now he's dead as fuck. In saying that, however, the return of the old world could be a return of Malus, we just don't know yet. And that does us for today guys, the complete lore and story of Malus Darkblade. I've been playing him a lot in the campaign recently, and while I love him as a legendary lord, his unique situation is quite shit, and he gets possessed way too quickly, and it's not good. Venrus, please save us. Giving away Hagreif is not the way to go, and his early game can be genuinely grueling. If If you guys want to support this channel further and get an access to a boatload of special Warhammer art, then consider supporting me on Patreon. I'm super demonetized right now, so this is basically keeping me afloat. Join the Discord if you want to talk some more shiz, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.